Yo, what is up, guys? So we're here showcasing off the new head judging, the new troll deck of 2020. Let's go ahead and get started. But basically, head judging is what makes this deck really more viable. So head judging is a new continuous trap card that makes it so every time your opponent activates an effect, they have to toss it and call it correct. If they don't call it correct, you're going to be able to negate the activation and also take control of that opponent's monster forever, which is obviously a pretty good effect. Now, head judging can actually negate the effects, and also misjudge can negate effects as well. I'm going to go ahead and explain this because this is quite fast here and there's a lot of effects to go through. So misjudge has the effect where if an opponent's card activates, before resolving that effect, you toss a coin twice, and if that result is 2 heads, you get to negate that effect. That effect can only be used once per turn. So this is a negate once per turn, it's random, and this is also a negate once per, well, the head judging is a negate, which is random. And then you also have to have Dark Sanctuary, which can protect your monsters and make it so your opponent will be taking bird damage, which is also at random, but this is going to be very, very annoying for your opponent. But we also got more special things to make it even more trollsy. Now, I haven't really talked about this card, but this is Proton Blast. Once per turn, if any coin effect is activated that tosses coin, you apply an effect depending on how many coins are actually flipped. So if it's just 1, you're going to do some small burn damage. If it is 2, you get to destroy 1 card your opponent controls. If it's 3, you get to look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 card from their hand. An effect that activates requires 2 or more coin tosses. You get to banish this card from the graveyard and then apply that results as all heads. So anyways, he's going to go ahead and summon some monsters. It's like a true Draco variant here. So he's going to go ahead and attack. This actually still procs the effect before Dark Sanctuary, and he's going to go ahead and toss a coin. He's going to go ahead and boost up the attack. It's heads, so he loses life points because it's the half of the monster's attack, and also he doesn't get to actually attack. So now also you're going to proc the effect of Proton Blast, and he's going to take some burn damage. He's going to attack once again. Going to go ahead and flip up that coin. Power of the Guardian still procs again, and he's going to go ahead and lose out, and he's going to go ahead and get heads, and he's going to go ahead and actually get stronger and stronger. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and activate this effect, and he's going to go ahead and target a card in the field and pop it. Or was it, you can target 1 card in the field and, yeah, destroy it. And now we're going to see head judging activate this card's effect, and this card's effect makes it so he's going to go ahead and have to toss a coin. If it's wrong, well, you lose your effect, and I get to take that monster forever, which is super unfair. So that's basically the goal of the deck. It doesn't really have that much speed. Now he goes ahead and tosses a coin. It happens to be heads twice, so he loses out on his card. But this card's activating its effect, and he's going to still lose out on it because Misjudge negates that effect anyways. Even though this effect did not negate and seal the card, he still has Misjudge's effect to kind of have it as a backup plan. And now he's going to use his own card against him, the Unchained Abomination over here, and he's going to hack the card, and he's just going to go and said, yo, I don't want any more of this. So he basically got trolled pretty hard in this duel area, but I got a few other duels. That one would be considered more meta. And this guy is going to go ahead. He's got that Moki Moki. You already know what might happen in this duel if you guys actually know what the heck Moki Moki does. I know some people think it's a troll deck, and it is. I mean, at the end of the day, this is troll versus troll, but who's going to go ahead and actually take the win? Well, of course, we're showcasing off this build of a coin toss deck. So, in addition to the deck, I told you guys there's more troll power in the deck. We have Ordeal of a Traveler, and this card makes it so whenever your opponent attacks, they have to go ahead and choose 1 random card. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work with coins, but at the end of the day, this is a troll deck. Ordeal of a Traveler is the most annoying troll deck. And if you're playing in real life, there was technically a period in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you didn't have to reveal the card with Ordeal of a Traveler, but then they re-changed that because there was a huge outrage, I don't know, like this card is meant to be super troll in the first place, but interesting enough, if you have Ordeal of a Traveler, you've also got the Dark Sanctuary. You control your opponent quite hard. The card that you guys already saw in the first duel, which is this card over here, where they're just going to be taking damage. There's also Fairy Box. There's a lot of troll cards going on. So anyways, let's go ahead and get kind of started with this commentary here, now that I've explained some of the cards. But Sasuke Samurai makes it so whenever it battles, you toss a coin, heads or tails before damage calculation. If you call it right, you destroy the opponent's monster with this effect. So basically anything that battles it, 50% chance you'll be getting over it. But if you have second coin toss, you got 50% twice. We got Pot of Greed also in the deck. He goes ahead and activates Mirror Force, and because this deck is so much about the back row, I actually think Starlight Road is not that bad of an option. Oh, and then we're going to go ahead and see head judging. So just in case he's going to activate any effects over here, he's going to go ahead and not attack. He's like, yo, I'm never getting my attack in over here. I guess his goal is to try to get a bunch of cards in the graveyard with like Shining Angel, and then he's also got Enchanted Fitting Room. But yeah, we got another Pot of Greed, and you know what? If you guys don't know what this card does, you'll see very soon what the heck this card does. But basically, you can make it so your opponent does not Yu-Gi-Oh! But in this situation, once you get like Misjudge or Deal of a Traveler, you got Head Judging, like your opponent is going to be put into a situation where they really need to pop the entire board, but it's not going to be happening with Stardust Dragon over here. And the guy has another copy of Mirror Force, and he's going to go ahead and stop that Mirror Force from going through. Arcana Force has the effect where during the end phase, you can send 2 monsters you control to skip your opponent's next turn. I'm surprised this card never hit the ban list. I was really feeling like eventually this card would get hit in the ban list. He's going to go ahead and activate that effect. He wants to equip that card, but that's not happening because he's going to go ahead and get negated with that effect. And Relinquish Anima is now in his possession over here. Which is pretty cool, and it's always good to see someone lose by their own card. He's disrespecting him at this point, but you guys get the idea. Now he has no turn because, well, Arcana Force is out on the board. He's going to go ahead and activate the cubic engine that he's got over here, and he's just going to go ahead and make a game. This next one over here is going to show another troll card, because again, the whole point of this is showing all of the troll cards here. This guy, yo, he ran the cross out Designator. I feel like the sweaty Yu-Gi-Oh players, as in like the tryhards, for like a really long time, this was like triple in every deck. In fact, even in the OCG, they were messing around with this card. It's a really good card, but then it just phased out completely. I haven't really seen that many people play it. It's kind of like a hand trap that can act and basically get rid of impermanence too. It's a really decent card though, but it's usually great in those turn 1 scenarios. But we've also got Proton Blast. Here's another troll card that we haven't talked about. Tour of Doom. So during your opponent's standby phase, you toss a coin, and if it's heads, your opponent cannot normal summon or flip summon until the end phase, which pretty much means they're not summoning. And if it's tails, you can't normal summon or flip summon during your next turn, but it's really not that bad at the end of the day. But yeah, Tour of Doom can lock out decks completely, especially a lot of like the rogue decks. Like they really need their normal summon. But even some of the competitive decks, their normal summon initiates all of the special summoning in the first place. So it's kind of a card that can be a shutdown as long as you open it with a turn 1. And he goes ahead and pops this card, and yo, this is like the ultimate troll card. Waking the Dragon. When you hit that card and the Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon comes out, which is pretty much the go-to target, you basically lose. So like there's RNG potentially. If you hit their back row, you can instantly lose. So keep that in mind. So now that you guys have seen it in action, I want to give you guys the deck profile, but I gotta give a shout out to my homie Tsubasa for actually building this variant of the deck, but also have another variant that I did want to go and talk about because I feel like there are some optimization things that can be improved upon. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profile. So first off, we have Arcana Force, the World. We've got Misjudge, which is pretty much what makes the deck viable. And then we have Sasuke Samurai. I feel like this card could be utilized a little bit more. You can maybe, if you want to, just max out on him, because I mean, his effect is not bad. It's a 50% chance, right? And then we have the Mechlord Emperor Weisel. So when a face-up monster you control is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you also can target a synchro monster your opponent controls and then equip it to it, but it's just kind of there as another target. And then there's a small cubic seed engine in here for recyclability. Basically, you're able to place this in the spell and trap zone. You place a cubic counter, it negates its effect, and it cannot attack. So basically, it's a stall card. And then we have 1 day at peace, 2 copies of the Pot of Greed basically in the deck. That's 50% chance though. Then we have triple copies of Demise, and then we have Mallet, 2 copies of Duality. This card is actually not that bad in here, Magical Mallet, because there's a lot of times where you need that second coin toss, or you need those other cards to really make your deck a lot more viable, because sometimes you just open up a little bit awkward and you just don't have the right cards. For any like burn/troll deck, you kind of need it sometimes. And we have Duality, the Cubic Dharma, again, more recyclability for it. The Cubic Engine, it's basically stall. And then we happen to have second coin toss, which resets your stuff. Power of the Guardian, again, is basically protecting this judge. Then Dark Sanctuary, again, protecting and trolling. Then we have the Cubic Extension, so this lets you just special jam the Cubic Seed. And then we have the Waking the Dragon, 2 copies of Starlight Road, 2 copies of Dimensional Wall, because you can burn your opponent with some of the cards. Then we have Metaverse for, of course, this. And then we have the Armory Call, which you can surprise your opponent with Power of the Guardian. Or you can do Moon Mirror Shield. And then we have Fairy Box, toss a coin and makes their monster attack 0. And then we have Ordeal of Travel, another troll card, and then Gun, or actually it's the Proton Blast is what it's called in the TCG. And then we've got the Tour of Doom, and then Lucky Chance. Once per chain, the monster effect is activated that tosses a coin toss. You get to call heads or tails, and if you call matches the coin toss, you could draw 1 card. So I guess it's kind of draw power, but I feel like because the trap card is too slow, I think this is just more consistent, right? You get to activate your stuff immediately and try to get that RNG in your favor. And then head judging, which is basically what makes this whole deck possible. Obviously, from the first duel, the guy basically lost because of it. If he didn't have, well, if he didn't get unlucky, he probably would have won the duel, but that's part of head judging. I think this card is like so RNG though. I mean, not only do you get to negate the effect, but you get to take the card forever, and it's a continuous card. However, if you call it wrong, it's really bad because if they call it right, you have to send this card to the graveyard, so you lose it permanently. But at the end of the day, it's a 50% chance. But if you get it, it's great. Now, the extra deck, no, really only important card really is Ultimate Falcon, but there are other targets like Stardust Dragon, which you can technically utilize. But for the most part, the most important one I would say is this. And then we're also running in the second build that I wanted to show off, which is basically the same build, although I kind of felt like there were some optimization things that could make this deck a little bit better, and this is what I came up with for other cards too, if you guys wanted to play with some coin tossing. So because the coin toss decks can go relatively fast, like you basically utilize all your cards really fast because there's not that many monsters. If you set a jar, you can potentially go plus pretty hard, and so I like it for that potential, because then the Morphing Jar is always in those troll decks. And then the other changes, I bumped up Mallet, I think, and then we also put Extravagance at 2 here. The reason why I'm not going to max out on it is because some of the other cards do have potential draw power. I'm not sure if you can actually activate Cup of Ace, because it is a random effect. Someone let me know. Yeah, and then instead of triple power to Guardians, I felt like Moonmirror Shields could be a little bit more useful sometimes, because from the duel you saw, yeah, I know that the guy got unlucky with Dark Sanctuary, but I feel like Moonmirror Shield has much more consistency. Power of the Guardians is good too. I definitely want to play one, and you could still surprise him with Armory Call, because you want to protect it via card effect destruction sometimes. But I just think that Moonmirror Shield is just overall just a great card in this, because Misjudge, as long as she comes out, she can potentially negate one effect, and then she can follow up with another effect on her opponent's turn. I like it for that ability. And then there's really no other changes other than Extravagance, and then I filled out the extra deck for, of course, your Extravagance targets. Other cards that I did consider that I wanted to mention in case you guys do want to go ahead and play this deck that have some potential. If you decided to play more Dark Machine monsters, this card is actually really good. The Despacito Barrel Dragon has a really good effect, where as a quick effect, you can toss 3 coins, so that can technically proc the effect of Proton, which I honestly think you can maybe drop this card, but if you can get it off like early in the game, it can be really cool to be able to see your opponent's entire hand, and then you can guarantee a coin toss later down the line if this card goes away. It is a continuous card, but more likely your opponent's not going to get rid of it. But there's also the Gambler of Legends can proc the third effect, where you get to look at your opponent's hand, because there's not that many card effects that flip 3 coins instantly, so that's what would allow you to use this card a little bit more often. Time Wizard is like the classic card. I don't know, I feel like this guy's the ultimate troll. I definitely, okay, you know, we're gonna throw one of these boys in here. I think honestly you can do without this card. I feel like it's like the small burn is like meh. The destroy 1 card your opponent controls can be kind of good with Misjudge. I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of half and half on that card. It's not that bad. Maybe drop one of the Starlight Rogues, maybe drop one of these, mix and match, whatever you guys want to do. Thinking Meeting can also be a good card, but overall, yeah, these are the cards that I can definitely suggest if you guys wanted to slim it down to maybe like a 40 card deck, have a little bit more consistency in the deck. But there it is, guys, the new 2020 Head Judge, or Misjudge Judy over here. I like it. It's a really cool deck, and it's definitely a troll deck in the end day. It will definitely make your opponent salty with this. This is like, dude, I can't believe they released this card, honestly. Like, this is like a troll's dream card. It's a continuous card that, I mean, if you get the effect once, you almost just win the duel in a lot of situations. But to get the effect to be continuous, that's nasty, man. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more trolling Yu-Gi-Oh videos, there'll definitely be more coming very soon. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one. I'm signing out. Peace.